Hello everyone, and thank you for hitting play on this short video presentation from AMPT software. This presentation is all about trust and how this single word underpins everything that we do at AMPT software with video and imagery evidence. My name is David Spreadborough. I'm a certified forensic video analyst and I'm the video analyst at AMPT software. Just a little bit about me. I started off as a police officer in 1991 in the Met Police in London in the United Kingdom and transferred to a smaller force in 1996. And a few years later I started a CCTV unit there dealing with imagery and video evidence. In 2015, after the CCTV units closed, I decided to leave policing and go to work with AMPT software. And the reason why is because they had a clear vision on dealing with imagery and video evidence that does clearly align with my own moral values and my own beliefs on specifically CCTV and imagery evidence. You can see some of the team there. There's Martino Yerian. He's the founder and CEO of AMPT Software in the middle there with his arms crossed. It's an Italian company founded in 2008 and we do have a small subsidiary in the US. We have a clear vision, and that is justice through science. And remember on the previous slide I said, you know, that's the clear vision that aligns with my own sort of moral values. I see every single day video and imagery evidence that has been badly acquired, or incorrectly acquired, badly managed, badly handled, misinterpreted, and then presented incorrectly in courtrooms around the world. And this is scary stuff. And that's why at AMPT software we'll do everything that we can do to ensure that the video evidence and the imagery evidence is being dealt with correctly and is being presented correctly so a court can trust what they are seeing. And here is that word trust again, and various other words linked to it. Integrity, authenticity, reproducible, repeatable, positive, honest, confidence. All of these things rely, or relate, to imagery and video evidence. Can it be trusted? Is there an integrity chain throughout the process between acquisition and presentation? Let's look at CCTV first of all. You'd think, and a layman may believe, that CCTV evidence, as it's being recorded for sort of preview use, you'd be able to trust it. Not all the time. It's very easy for video evidence in particular to be changed most of the time without anyone knowing, and it's because it's being changed perhaps just to help in watching it. But has that change affected its integrity? And this is where we come in. This is where AMPT software comes in, is to ensure that what you are seeing is what was actually recorded. Look at this CCTV system here, basic home CCTV system, purchased off the shelf. Well, how do you know that what's being acquired from that CCTV system is the best evidence? This unit in particular can output two different videos from the same camera. One which is designed for a cell phone. So one that you can review this video evidence from a cell phone, and you can then save that video evidence on your cell phone and send that perhaps to law enforcement. However, on this digital video recorder itself is a much higher, better quality video. And that may never be realized. Again, how can you trust what you're seeing, and is that best evidence? all the various digital video recorders here. How is it being acquired? How is that video evidence being acquired and being sent to perhaps the law enforcement? This is so important now. Every process must retain integrity. From the digital video recorder, well, that could be network video recorder, it could be a body cam, it could be a Ring doorbell, it could even be a dash cam. Whatever that recording device is, that's where the integrity chain must start. How is it being exported? How has the first responder handled it? The technician, the analyst, and then how is the courtroom playing it? And you can see there that there may be some storage involved. For the first responder to upload it to some storage device, how is the technician or the analyst then downloading it? How are they then importing their sort of derivative evidence? And then how are the court playing it? Again, the court must be able to trust that there is an integrity chain all the way back to what was originally recorded. Now, legal acquisition is not always easy. You can see here the Scientific Working Group on Digital Evidence's best practice for data acquisition from digital video recorders. Various countries are going to have different guidelines, and most police forces will have a standard operating procedure for the acquisition of video evidence. Can you trust who did it? Have they done it correctly? Can you trust how they've done it? This is now so important. The initial acquisition of data, that's where everything starts. And it's so important that we, over the past year, have been running some free webinars on getting started with video evidence. So officers and first responders can learn a little bit more so they are getting it correctly. We're seeing badly acquired video evidence daily. And it is so important that what was originally acquired is the video evidence that is being extracted from that device. Looking through our products, you can see that you've got AMP Replay, DVR-COM 5 and Authenticate from for the first responders all the way through technicians and then analysts. It's so important that whatever those products do, they can be trusted. What is it doing to the video evidence? How is it managing the video evidence? If it's doing something, can that be repeated? Is it reproducible? And so a court can then rely on anything exported from those products. For those people that are not aware of the sort of AMP software portfolio of products, we have AMP Replay for the first responders, DVR-COM for technicians, then 5 standing for Forensic Image Video Enhancement, and that's your big single tool for everything to do with CCTV and imagery restoration and enhancement, and then Authenticate for the analysis of imagery. Diving straight into Replay, you can see here that I've just dragged a video file over into the import box, and you can see straight away we've got initializing video conversion. Now, this is an automated process. Replay is designed for first responders, so for those people that have to deal with video but don't understand video. This conversion process is behind the scenes. There's no interaction, and we do it in a way that is lossless. We do not change the pixel information on the original video. All we're doing is taking it out of the proprietary container and placing it into a standard container so it can be played and analyzed correctly. Video evidence being displayed here. You can see throughout the video I've got my date and time down in the bottom left corner that's been extracted, so it's not over the top of the video. I can see important information. I've added in some case information, And it's important to recognize that what we're seeing here is the video evidence as it was recorded and as it was acquired from the CCTV system. Most CCTV players will do something to the video evidence. It may change the size, the shape, the color. Some apply some sort of deblocking and smoothing and sharpening. Again, none of that is here in replay. You're seeing it as it was recorded. You can trust what you are seeing. Moving to the Enhance tab, basic enhancements can be done. And again, well, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to learn replay. So it's very, very simple. But there's basic enhancement tools, and again, everything can be trusted because all of these are recorded behind the scenes. You'll see that shortly in the report. A key thing for replay is the annotation. You don't have to use another tool to put on arrows or boxes or circles or tracking or anything like that. It's all done within the software, and all of these are again recorded and logged within the report. Moving to the export tab, I can export the original video, I can export a processed video, I can export my bookmarks, and I can generate a report on what I have done. And looking at the report, we've got all the key information, including any processing that has been applied to the video. There is a forensic workflow, and the key thing with replay is that the forensic workflow is actually hidden. The forensic, it's done automatically with the tabs at the top and the recording. So a first responder who again may not know about the sort of forensic requirements of video, it's seamless to them. However, for an analyst, this would be key information. There's the forensic or the video forensic process as it's documented by some organizations. And it's key here to look at the processing, you know, that option D, the processing. When you're processing video evidence, again, that has to have a forensic workflow. So each stage in there must be forensic. You know, the processing of video and images must also have integrity. When you're doing something, someone else has to trust what you've done. Well, the image generation model provides a workflow for this. The image generation model provides trust in that you have changed that video evidence in a way that you should have changed that video evidence or the imagery evidence. When you look at an image or a video and you see something in there that you need to correct, well, you're seeing an effect and you have to understand cause. You have to understand the cause of that effect. A good example may be motion blur, and you can then identify what you're seeing and you know what has caused that. And because you recognize the effect and you understand the cause, you can then conduct a restoration and you can conduct some enhancement. But obviously we see many issues in video and we have to correct those things within a specific order. Again, so a court can trust what we've done, and a court can trust why we've corrected certain things within an image or within a video in a certain way. We break down the image as to how it was created, how it was generated. And the image generation model allows us to reverse that. So we can reverse what we're seeing. So we can apply our corrections in the reverse order so we end up with what we should be seeing. And it's not what is always recorded. Let's have a look at this very, very basic example. Now I'm using AMP5. Faces are very, very easily distorted in video, especially from CCTV systems, because CCTV systems may change the imagery. And so we have to correct the imagery to how it should be. So here we're looking at a standard sphere on a stick in front of the CCTV camera. But I can see that my sphere is slightly squeezed. I have to correct that in order to then see it as it should be in real life. So if we now think about a face, if I was doing something like a forensic facial comparison, I would have to correct that face in order to ensure that I am doing a correct comparison. So I've deinterlaced my video footage here because I saw that there was interlacing artifacts. I've already deinterlaced it. I'm then going to crop it, and you can see down in my history in my lower right hand section here that these are all my filters that I've applied, and I'm applying them in the order that they need to be applied. I've then adjusted the aspect ratio to 4:3 because that is the display aspect ratio for this video, and again I can put in something there manually, or I can do it in an automated process. Next, I've applied some undistortion because that's at the lens. Remember, aspect ratio would be at the transmission and recording stage, but the lens distortion is further, or was done first, because that's when the imagery hits the camera. So again, I'm doing that last. That's your image generation model. We reverse the problems that we're seeing. Now we've got a much better sphere. So again, if this was a person's face, that would be much more correct. And I can ensure that what I'm seeing is correct by testing that. And I just put in a perfect circle over the top of my sphere to ensure that that is a perfect circle. And if you remember back, and let's just, go back, well, actually I won't go back to save a bit of time. If we went back, you would see that we originally started off without a perfect sphere. We have to ensure that what we're doing is correct, we're doing it in the correct order, and that we are seeing actually the correct scene as it was recorded, not how it was retained during the recording process. So let's quickly look back now at images and videos that are received as evidence. So we've been talking there about presenting that correct evidence. Let's quickly go back now to sort of images and videos that are received as evidence. Images are very easily manipulated. They're very easily changed. We see all the time about images that are photoshopped. It's very, very simple to do now. And this is where Authenticate comes in. You can see down the left side, we've got a vast amount of filters there. The key thing with Authenticate is that you can trust that all of these filters and all of these tools work together and have been tested. We do a huge amount of testing with these in real life examples. We don't create images in the lab and then run tests in the lab to see whether or not we can find out which ones have been changed. We use real life examples. So these are things, all of the filters that have been used, you can trust that are actually going to be reliable for you. And again, remember I was saying we don't just talk about the metadata, we don't just talk about the file analysis or the sort of imagery as itself. We look at how those pixels change and how those pixels differentiate from each other. And you can see here we've got a big red warning flag over this person's face. That would be a big alarm bell to say that this image has received some manipulation in the facial area. The amount of tools that are now available for you to use as well. With shadow analysis and looking, we can see the shadow there, we can see where the sun was. Well, we've got lots of ways of looking at that, and if there is metadata, and if we've got GPS information, and if we've got date and time information, we can go to the sun calc and actually see where the sun was and see whether or not the shadows are reliable. And the shadows do show that it was recorded at that date and time, or captured at that date and time. It's many tools here, and Authenticate is a hugely important piece of software for image authentication now. Just running over 20-minute mark here, and so I'm going to be wrapping this up now. Thanks for staying with me. As I said, we're here all about trust in what you are receiving as evidence, in the handling and storage and management of that data, in the interpretation and processing of that data. You need to be able to trust in the reliability of what is being produced and the derivative evidence that is coming out of that product. And you need to be able to trust in the software that you're using throughout the process. Finally, you need to be able to trust in the company that you partner with to provide you with that software. Thank you for watching this presentation. I hope that you've learned a little bit, and you can see that without software, trust is everything to us. Trust in the products, trust in what is being produced, and thank you for putting your trust in us.